Welcome to another, I wouldn't call this edition of Africa Sideways. Africa Sideways in perspective, let's rather call it. I'd like to share my perspective on a recent road trip through the heart of South Africa and just let you know what I came back with. Now if you turn on the TV, there's a lot of bad news about what's going on in South Africa. Race problems, crime, corruption. It just looks like it's an absolute shambles. So when I had to go to drive from Cape Town to Pretoria to see the Outlaws, I was like, what is it going to be like driving along there? What are the roads going to be like? What are the people going to be like? And how safe am I going to feel? Managed to organize a perfect test car for the trip, the Ford Tourneo, which you've seen. I've done the reviews, you can check those out, but this is not about the car, this is about the country. So we drove first leg Cape Town to Graaff Reinet, which is Western Cape, Eastern Cape, is exactly how I remember it. N1 was fine, trucks were courteous, it was quite busy, definitely a lot of trucks and traffic on the road. You can see the economy is buzzing. Generally, I'd say the highway was probably about 80% capacity, up Cape Town to Beaufort West, then went along the N9 to Graaff Reinet. The town of Graaff Reinet itself looks like it's been quite badly affected by COVID. A lot more people begging on the street, a lot more desperation, a lot of young children begging, which is quite heartbreaking. But then if you look at the outlying farms and the nature areas are still pretty much as they are. It's really the poor. Some of these little towns, they really get hit quite hard, especially places that rely on tourism, overseas currency. Graaff Reinet's kind of a halfway stopping point for people who are going up country and coming down country, a lot of restaurants and whatnot. So that was quite sad to see. So that I could definitely see in that particular town it had a market effect, but other towns looked less affected, less people having to sleep on the side of the road and whatnot. And then from Graaff Reinet we carried on up the N9 through Middelburg, which looked exactly the same. It didn't look like much beforehand. And then up the N1 to Bloemfontein, very nice stretch of road. Quite busy with a lot of trucks. So, I mean, the economy is still moving. Trucks are the heartbeat of the economy, and if that's, especially with a rail system that's been in a state of dilapidation for many years. That's another lecture of why our South African rail service has just gone to pieces. I heard a whisper that it's because the powers that be, and this is dating back to the 80s, had interest in large fleets of trucks, so there was no incentive to keep the railways fully functional. Anyway, don't quote me on that, highly alleged. So driving through Bloemfontein looked nice, looked well kept. Everybody seemed happy. Stopped at Uncle Tom's rest stop. A couple of big Breuker bikers there. I can see the people in the Free State. They're like big big dudes. Anyway, but generally people are very friendly there. I think it's the Swana people in the Free State. Very friendly, beautiful language. It almost sounds like Italian when they're speaking. So all good up to Bloemfontein, and then from Bloemfontein we went to Kroonstad. Kroonstad looks like a small version of Pretoria. Quite a leafy, I'd say Pretoria 40, 50 years ago. It looked all good. Roads were fine, and then from there we took instead of going on the N1 through the more built up areas of Gauteng, we took the 717 to Parys. Lovely little town, a cool little town in the north of the Free State. Very funky cafes and stuff. It's like a really cool, trendy town. I was very surprised I just thought it was some backwater town that was named after the real Paris, but Parys is quite a cool place, nice people, and there's a lot going on there. You wouldn't even know that there's COVID. It looks still quite affluent, of all shapes and sizes and colours and creed. That's the thing I've noticed. The more north you get, the more diverse, the more cosmopolitan it is. You see a lot more black and white people mixing, and it's, you know, if you turn on the TV, it's all hate, 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 hate. But if you actually look at real life, from my experience up to there, people are just trying to get on with their lives. Sure, there are people that are desperate, but I think a lot of the animosity and anger that's built up in this country is hyped up. There's a certain amount of animosity from the history of the country, but a lot of it is just overblown. And if you just read the news all the day and don't get out there, get out in the streets and travel the country and see what's actually happening, pleasantly surprised. So then Paris, great little road, and then we came into Randfontein, which is an old sort of mining district. Cullinan and all that's down there. It's went down the main road. I mean, it's not the Ritz. It was a busy Friday afternoon, but besides the big trucks bellowing past, I didn't feel too threatened. So that went from Randfontein, which has actually got some old buildings. It actually has a little bit of potential. I mean, I don't think anybody there can see it, but some of those old buildings, you could really do what they've done in Woodstock as an area in Cape Town, but I don't know where. You need a few arty people and a few artists to kind of push that kind of thing out. And in Randfontein, that's thin on the ground. But anyway, from there we went to Krugersdorp, and then on the N14. N14 is one of my favorite roads in the Swani Gauteng area, double carriage highway, and normally not that much traffic. So then came in on the N14, and our destination was Midstream. And we got there pretty easily. GPS worked. And then once you're in Midstream, you're in these big gated estates, very secure, you feel very safe. People are walking around all over the place, also multiracial. And so stuck around Midstream for 3 days, checking out the Outlaws and the family. And then I went to see my buddy Dwayne. Shout out to Dwayne, the big dog, my old boy. Went to see Dwayne in Melville. I thought I've got to get out and just get a bit of the vibe, you know. Centurion's like, it's cool, but it's very suburban and it's a bit vanilla. So I went to Melville and went to this place called Smoking Kills. I picked this place with the best Google review, and it really was the cracking place. Very cool people working there, nice vibe, nice playlist. So Melville, if you're looking for something trendy and arty to check out for a couple of drinks. Very cool little part of the world. Also very multiracial. It was quite cool. I was driving into Melville and this thunderstorm was going and all the thunder and lightning, all the high buildings everywhere. It was really quite dramatic. And those old leafy areas of Joburg, they got quite a bit of charm. On the way out of there, my phone was dead. It was dead, so I had to just try to charge it up and get the GPS working, and had to get back by 12 o'clock so Mrs. Zuma wouldn't give me a hiding for being out after curfew. Some of the time I was flying blind until the GPS had enough battery to work, but true Africa sideways style, we got the job done. No diggity doubt. So yeah, I had a good night out in Melville. And the rest, then we went to the Nanwa Temple in Bronkhorstspruit. The Tourneo was eating that up, and unfortunately that was closed because of Covis. I can't understand why you got like religious places when people in the time of a crisis, people need their religion and their spirituality the most. These places are closed. I mean, I don't get it. But anyway, very beautiful, chill drive there. And then we came back, and then we headed back to Graaff Reinet. This time we went N1 through the heart of Joburg to get back. Lovely morning drive. We left early morning, so we missed the worst of the traffic. Got like the sunrise coming, and I don't really mind driving in busy places, so I embrace it. You drive like the locals, you give it a bit of wheelie, and everything was fine. I didn't feel really threatened there too much at all. I mean, you definitely keeping your eyes peeled, but you told all these horror stories about the crime, and there are horror stories that do happen. So I'm not trying to sugarcoat this. I'm just telling you my experience. I really enjoyed driving along the M1, then the N1. And before long you're out of Joburg, you're going down towards the Free State again, and it's wide open spaces. And it was pretty uneventful, to be honest. And then we went back down the N1, and then I've got to have a shortcut. I can't stay on the N1 forever. So I think it was before Colesberg. I took a back tar road that about 100 k's through just almost single track tar with these fields on the side, wide open space. That's the Free State, it's wide open spaces. So that was really cool to get a different perspective we'll get off the highway and really get off the beaten track, which I really like. And we went past this place called Trompsburg, which looks quite interesting. It had like a cool little restaurant as you're coming on the left, and then the Ornendorp down below. But I think the Free State has got a lot of potential. I mean, there is a lot of there is some problems there. Some of it's manufactured, some of it's history that needs to be sorted out. I think there needs to be just, why can't we all just get along, basically, you know? If we could all get along, this country has got so much potential. So then we went back to Graaff Reinet, night on the farm, very, very chilled there, and then back down Route 62, one of the best roads in the world. Easy. So we came back down Route 62. It was very quiet. It's much nicer than going to N1. Oudtshoorn looked a little bit tired as well, like Graaff Reinet. Some of these towns, the inland towns, are struggling a bit, but everything was still clean and well kept. And we banged it down Route 62, and then back to Cape Town, and there's your 3,500k round trip of South Africa. Whistle stop. I was very impressed with the Tourneo. Great reliability, great space, great performance, and I was very impressed with South Africa. I still felt safe. Nothing happened. I didn't go to the really dodgy areas, so you still need to keep your head about you of where you're going, but don't be scared. Do your homework, proper homework, and get out and enjoy yourself. So, more to come on Africa Sideways. Off to see the overland guru, Mr. Paul Marsh. See what trucks he's got in his garage. Because a lot of his clients are wanting to get out in the bush. They're wanting to get out into Africa and feel the vibe.